deep true crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we're diving into the new murder trial of the eye drop murder case. Lynn Hernan was taken from this world way too soon. And what we come to find out, according to the prosecution, all in the name of greed. And so this trial has just begun this week. They're literally opening statements today. Trial has officially begun. On October 3rd, 2018, a deputy was dispatched to Meadowgrass Circle at approximately 4:55 p.m. when a caller, Jessy Kurczewski, she said that her roommate, the person she's taking care of, not roommate, the person she's taking care of at that address was deceased, was not conscious, was not breathing. That's what she said. Upon arrival, that deputy noticed a pale, unconscious female that was later identified as Lynn Hernan. Now, Lynn, the deputy notices, was lying in a recliner in the living room. Now, the deputy indicated that he noticed a large amount of crushed medication on her chest and a plate directly to the left of her with a large amount of what appear to be crushed up prescription pills. And so, or crushed up medication, should I say, still on the plate. And so this deputy further noted that a large number of prescription medication bottles on the table on either side of her. So she had a lot of this around her. Now, the Pewaukee fire personnel also responded and confirmed Lynn Hernan to be deceased. Rest in peace, Lynn. Now, based on the initial observations of the scene, they believe that it was a drug overdose, which is what they also believe they made that Jessy had staged the scene. And so she gave a story. Then she changes her story again. And I'll tell you why. Then she changes her story again. Why would she have to give 3 different versions of a story? Well, let's go ahead and dive into what we know at this time. Rest in peace, Lynn Hernan. Taken from this world way too soon. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're diving into the eye drop murder case, which the case is now going in trial as we speak. We might dive over there just for a brief second, but this video is for someone who wants the little highlights of what's going on and doesn't want to sit through the whole thing, right? It's a long trial. They're expecting this trial to be 5 weeks long. And so we're going to dive into what we know in Jessy's case. Jessy, the suspect. Jessy, the person on trial. And Jessy Kurczewski, she was the caretaker. 39-year-old Wisconsin woman. She is now accused of murdering her wealthy friend of the family with eye drops. And now we're in trial in Waukesha County in Wisconsin. Now, Jessy, she is alleged to have told the police a number of different versions of events. And it's things like that. It's like, what do you have to hide if there's nothing to run from? And that leaves me to wonder, like, okay, that doesn't look very good for you if right out of the gate you have to lie about it. And that is what's going to lead us to our victim, Lynn Hernan. Rest in peace, Lynn. Why would she want to take her money? Why would she want to do this to her? Why would she try to stage it as a unaliving situation? You see, the first version that she shares about what happened to Lynn begins to change shortly after. The first version, it begins with the discovery of the Pewaukee woman's, being found unconscious and not breathing while she was in a recliner. And then the subsequent emergency calls that made on October 3rd, 2018, that's what she shared, unconscious and not breathing. And that's exactly what they thought they were up against. Lynn Hernan, 62 years old, she was found at home with a large amount of crushed medication on her chest and a plate directly to the left of her with a large amount of what appeared to be crushed up medication still on the plate. As I shared with you, that's what the criminal complaint reads. And so for months, the official explanation of what happened to Lynn, they believed it was an overdose until January of 2019. At that time, the Pewaukee Police Department, they actually learned, wait, it wasn't a fatal overdose of her doing. They learned that Hernan actually died from a fatal dose of tetrahydrozoline or something like that. That is what is in eye drops. That is what is in Visine. That is what is in most of those get rid of the red in your eyes type eye drops. And that's the main ingredient that is used in eye drops. So when the medical toxicology report comes out, they're like, wait a second. This is a little different than what we originally thought. And so after that, they're like, okay, let's dive a little deeper. And so a subsequent homicide investigation resulted in Jessy Kurczewski being arrested on June 4th of 2021. Again, this originally happened October 3rd, 2018, when she calls and reports unconscious and not breathing. So it wouldn't be for about we're talking about 3 years later that she would finally be charged. And she's charged with 1 count each of intentional homicide in the first degree, theft of movable property greater than $100,000, and theft of movable property over $10,000 but less than $100,000. So a little of both, all due to greed. Now, Lynn Hernan, she was known to be someone who used cash almost always. She used credit cards. If she used any credit cards, she paid it down very quickly. She never used ATMs or any cash advances. She wasn't a lavish spender, anything like that. And so Jessy, on the other hand, was a little bit different. She, on the other hand, was more about, she used credit cards a lot. A lot. Her credit cards were generally close to max limit on a regular basis. And she used ATMs and cash advances on those credit cards. And she's known to spend beyond her means, primarily at Stala's Palace in Potawatomi, which is a lot of a casino. It was a main casino. She was in huge debt. And prosecutors say that she actually did this to her friend and who she was a caretaker of, in order to pay off this casino debt that she owed. And they say that most of these purchases that she made were in West Allis, Hales Corner, and Franklin. And she frequented online activity. So 2 different patterns of life that were described in court today. You see, Lynn's credit card accounts completely different than what Jessy's pattern in the last 4 months of Lynn's life. When Jessy had money in her account, unfortunately, it wasn't her money. She was spending Lynn's money. And the toxicology report, it actually showed that, actually the family friend's death, it was made known to the defendant right away. So Jessy got word like, okay, I better change my thought on what I'm saying happened to her. And so as soon as this toxicology report came out in Lynn's death, before you know it, Jesse's like, okay, I better get ready to change my response, basically. In response to those findings, Jessy said, she has her own explanation. At least that's what police are saying. Jessy says that, Hernan, she was known for eye drops and that she purchased them in great volume. So that's why there was so many bottles and boxes from eye drops all over the residence. That's what she told police now. See how she's changing it? She gave a second version. And so she's now saying that, wait a second, Lynn is known for eye drops and that she purchased them in large quantity. And that's why she had them all over the place. But we know that that's not actually true. We know a little more now. Well, she's not done changing her story though. Because what about the crushed up pills conveniently located on the dead, on the deceased and near her reclining deathbed? Now, Jessy alleges that the story to support that wrinkle is, her actual cause of death. She says that the victim must have staged her own unaliving with those crushed pills because Jessy maintained that she didn't do anything. Jessy has nothing to do with that. And she says that Lynn had been trying to unalive herself for a while by drinking Visine and vodka. That's what Jessy is saying about Lynn now. Again, part of her new version. And she said that she would try different doses in water bottles or vodka and that she would get very sick. That's what Jessy told the police, according to the complaint. However, her story changes again. This time, she admits that her friend's death was something more like a begrudging case of assisted unaliving. She said that her and Lynn fought about it for an hour prior to Jessy leaving the residence. Literally, she's like, we fought about it for a long time before I decided to leave the residence that morning, and she finally gave in. That's what Jessy says. She says, she said, I finally gave in and gave the water bottle with 6 Visine bottles in it to Lynn. Again, that's the third version. You see how she's changing her story? Now, basically the defense so far, at least, what we're learning so far in all these pre-trial motions is that Hernan was in fact obsessed with eye drops and that Jessy genuinely cared for her friend and that she was just trying to ease her suffering. In the complaint, it says she knows she's probably going to prison for the rest of her life for helping the victim do what she wanted. Now, why would she even know that she's going away for a long time? Because she knows she's not going to get away with this so any which way. Now, prosecutors, they allege that Jessy's spending increased significantly after she began spending time with Lynn Hernan. Now, they say that those spending habits, it was only made possible by Jessy transferring more than $100,000 of her friend's money into her own bank account. Now, that's according to the complaint, right? And so according to the complaint, she defrauded Lynn of $300,000 and she was in control of her estate. One potential witness who's going to be a big part of this testimony for both sides of the trial is an inmate at the correctional institution there who was roommates with Jessy after her arrest. And according to a court document, it shares that, Jessy has an emotional breakdown and tells the jailhouse roommate that she did give Hernan several bottles of Visine to kill her. And so that's why she did it. Lynn having an emotional breakdown. Jessy says, "Here you go. Here you go." That's what she tells the person. But, that's a secondhand confession. And what would be the motive behind all that, right? And according to the inmate, she says that everyone thinks that Jessy did it for money. And that's why this all occurred. And so, we don't really know outside of that what Jessy is going to go, how far she's going to take this at this time. And so this is an ongoing trial that's going to be literally at the center of all of this. Now, police allege that Jessy has a history of attempted fraud and gambling problems that might make her alleged financial transgressions, do something that she couldn't really manage, right? She was in debt. She loved it. She loved to thrive. She was all for it. And her defense attorney, they're going to bat for her. This lady all day has been, wanting to do everything. But here's the thing. This girl has been through multiple attorneys already since January of 2023 alone. And so with all of that in here, we got to wonder okay, all right, how far will you take this, Jessy? You see, she was living in Franklin at the time of the incident. And now the prosecutor, Abby Nikolai, this girl comes with a lot of experience. And so she's going to be fighting this a lot. But Donna Kushla, in your screen right now, the criminal defense attorney, they're fighting for her for this. And they're going to be fighting for Jessy all the way so far from what I can tell. And it's not just her. She also has a partner, Pablo, that's in this as well, that's helping defend this suspect, Jessy. Now, Jessy, she doesn't have much to go on because it does not look good for her at this time. But you just never know because you're putting it in the hands of other people, right? And so with that being said, the trial is going on as we speak. And they're going to continue to share a lot of this overall, literally overall, because here is the truth. Here is the truth. We want justice for the victim. She didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve this at all, right? And with that, I don't have the right screen. Don't I have the right screen? Why is my screen not up there? Okay, there we go. And so the trial's going on as we speak right now, and we don't really know what's going to end up coming out of it. Right now, it does not look good for her. You can even see she's crying in here as they're describing some of the stuff that's going on here. Let's see here. Let's see. You can probably hear it a little bit. Let's see.
Yeah, them not knowing this about Lynn and Jessy, not knowing the dynamics about Lynn and Jessy, maybe in their view of this, doesn't make sense to them. Why Lynn would give Jessy all this money, why a mother would give their daughter or their son money. And as he said, he's correct. Lynn had two groups of friends. She had Jennifer and Jessy, and then she had Keith, James, Corrine, and Anthony. But the problem was, with what he told you is, we all have circles in our lives. Circles. Where we only keep a few people in our circle. And only these few people that we have in our circle, the people that know our secrets, that we talk to every day and share everything with, when we're not feeling good or feeling happiness and sadness. And that was Jennifer and Jessy. She was in Lynn's circle. When Lynn needed help, she called on them. Every single time. When Lynn needed help, she called on Jennifer. Jennifer's like her best friend. And Jessy became her best friend. When Lynn needed to move in 2009, Jennifer helped her, and Jennifer's boyfriend, Gary Verdon. She didn't call Keith, James, Anthony, or Corinne. Who do you call when you move? Your friends, your closest friends or relatives. That's who she called, Jennifer. When Lynn needed to move into this condo, who did she call? Jennifer and Gary Verdun. She didn't call James, Keith, Corinne, or Anthony. They didn't help her. When Lynn's mother died in 2013, who did she call to help her drive to Madison and help clean up her mother's place and get it ready to sell? Jennifer and Gary. They drove to Madison and helped Lynn clean out her mother's house. She didn't call these four other people. They weren't in her circle, that inner circle. And their documents that they gave us is in the proof. Her bank account. Lynn had all this money in two bank accounts, her checking account and her money market account. Who was on her account with her? Joint. Jennifer. Jennifer Flower. That was her checking account. Jennifer was joint on that account. She loved Jennifer. Her money market account. Again, she had a lot of money in the money market account. Who was on that account? Jennifer. When you have a joint account, who do you put on the account again? Your husband? Your wife? Lynn didn't have anybody. She had Jennifer. Jennifer, it's like together. Lynn needed help, Jennifer helped her. When Jennifer needed help, Lynn helped her. When Jessy needed help, Lynn helped her, because that's her daughter. Anthony and Corinne, they didn't need help, they had money. This case, as the state's kind of said, during this time, it doesn't make sense to them, is Lynn was on disability, full disability. She had all this money, and she was receiving food stamps. She was getting full insurance and food stamps during this time, since 2009. And that was real important to Lynn, not to lose that. And you can lose it, depends upon how much money you make, money you have in your accounts. Because you're not supposed to get food stamps and full disability. You're not supposed to get disability and food stamps when you got a lot of money. Because why do we want to pay for somebody who's got a lot of money for their insurance and food stamps? Taxpayers. Lynn was on food stamps until she died with all this money. From the moment she inherited all this money to...
Now that is Jessy's defense attorney, Pedro. Again, it's Pedro and his partner, and so they're both defending her. Now, you saw the picture at the very beginning when I went there. It was of Jessy and a friend as well, and that's why she was shedding tears. Now, Pedro, he's a partner in that same law firm that is representing, and so they're both. Let's see what he's talking about there.
She had alcohol in her system. I'm not saying she's a bad person. She just liked that vodka. She also liked Visine. I have no idea why. Why somebody would put Visine in their alcohol or Visine in water. I don't know why people smoke marijuana. I don't know why people do heroin. I don't know why people do cocaine. I don't know why people do fentanyl. I But people like doing it. That stuff doesn't make sense to me, why people want to put that in their body. Lynn liked to put Visine and vodka and water. Why? Who knows? I don't know. Like, I don't know why people do heroin and cocaine. But they like doing it. When Lynn passed away, they talk about, and I want you to hold him to this prosecutor, when he came up here and said, the tetrahydrozoline, the Visine killed Lynn. You hold him to that when he came up here. That's what killed her. You know, to this day, no one's ever died from Visine. Ever. On planet Earth. No one, not one person's ever died from Visine, tetrahydrozoline poisoning. It's never happened. And I learned during this case, it's kind of like marijuana. You know, you can smoke blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt, and it can't kill you. The ingredients of marijuana. And I learned it through this case. That you can smoke all day, every day, marijuana, it can't kill you. Apparently something with your body. And it's like that with Visine. It can't kill you.
Judge, I'm going to object. That's not what any of the evidence is going to come in to say.
Attorney Galaviz, rephrase.
Well, we'll see.
These are opening statements, not arguments. Save that for your closing.
But when they arrived at...
That was a pretty interesting objection right there, because that's exactly, I was like, well, like, I mean, there's other different ways that it does harm you. That was my quick thought there. But again, this wasn't to, you guys can go on the trial and watch that thing all day. That's not, I mean, that makes no, you know, for me, that I'm not going to take up your time like that. My whole goal was to dive in, jump in there, watch that just a little bit, but to really dive into the different versions of events that she said happened when she had to keep changing her story, which also leads me to say it doesn't look very good for her at all, with all the timing of her spending spree and everything that she was doing. And I mean, she transferred to her account over $100,000. She didn't think anyone would notice that. And the family of Lynn, they knew, like, okay, wait a second, something's not right. I'm not trusting this girl. After a while, they knew that all this spending was weird. All the movement of money was weird, making her the executor. A lot of it wasn't making sense. And so the family was alarmed. They started raising red flags and started bringing attention. It just didn't go quick enough before all of this came into play. But here's the truth, though. You know, at first, they just thought it was, you know, a situation of no one actually did this to her. They just thought she was doing something to herself. You know, at first it was more of like, did she, oh, you know what? Or did she do this to herself? Or like, wait a second, now that the toxicology report took years, whoa, let's back up a second, because someone did this to her. And now here we are, finally, 5 years after her passing, we can get her some justice. Because truth is, greed, hey, she's gonna have to face her day now. And here it is. I'm Manny Rodriguez, my friends. The goal is not about me. It's to be a voice for the victims. Lynn did not deserve this. Rest in peace, Lynn. And now we can work on getting some justice for Lynn, because this didn't go unsolved. Or should I say, go into a way where it's like, we think this happened and let it go. No, now they're figuring it out. And that is exciting to hear. I'm Manny Rodriguez. My friends, if this is something that you like to follow, please hit that subscribe button, because at the end of the day, I just want to be someone that can help them get the word out. Because at the end of the day, this world we live in is a scary world. Is that not the truth? And so I want to be a voice for the victims to keep everyone aware. What could go wrong in this crazy world we live in? But, you know, at the end of the day, have a great day, my friends. I'm out. Have a good one. Peace.